All right, fellas, here we are. Thursday night. No footy this week, unfortunately. Well, there is, but not tonight. We have to wait till tomorrow. And there will be 2 games tomorrow. We're going to tip the whole round, round 8, hear it on the outer. Gus, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Lemons.
Wearing the same suit as I was on Wednesday last night. But, that's how I roll sometimes.
Disgusting. Lemons, how are you, mate? And more importantly, how is the leaderboard?
Look, I'm doing well. The leaderboard is a slight adjustment, but nothing major. Yes, as you might be able to tell by Gus's excitement, he did not lose this week. He came first with 6, I believe. 1, 2, 6. Whereas
took
Tom,
me 8 to 7 weeks.
yeah, Tom, you and I came in equal last with 5. Somehow I keep losing, even though it's by 1 every week. I'm tied in the bottom. Anyway, doesn't matter. The rules are the rules. So get your silly hat on.
What's the leaderboard, Lemons?
The leaderboard. Tom's on 44. Gus closing in on 37. And me, I'm not out of it yet. 35. Still there, but I can't let it slip too much further, I would say. Anyway,
right.
Get your silly hat on, my friend.
Hat time.
That looks warm, Levins.
Yeah, I know.
My head's so hot.
Got more Tigers nonsense on the pod, I see.
50 cents from the Forest Op Shop. So thanks to the team there. All right, let's get straight into it. Friday night, 2 games on. As I said, this is just stupid. I should have ranted about it. Maybe next week I'll do it. Why you have 2 games on a Friday night and schedule them so they overlap is absolutely beyond me, but that's what they've done. Friday night footy, Western Bulldogs v Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. Port looking like a bit of a resurgent side after a couple of wins in a row. Bulldogs had a good win against the Bombers last week. Still a little bit iffy, but certainly still around the mix. I think... this is the replay of the prelim, isn't it? Which makes it interesting as well. I think I'm actually going to tip Port in this one just because it's in Adelaide. I feel like they're going to get on a little bit of a roll. Should be a good game, but yeah, Port, I think maybe just a fraction more confident with them at the moment at home.
I don't know if the Bulldogs were that good last week, but Port were trash and were very lucky to win because St Kilda kicked 4-18. I think this is the question about, do you think either of these teams can still make finals? I don't really think either of them can, but I probably lean more towards the Bulldogs being able to do that, so I'm going to tip the Dogs for me.
I too am going to tip the Dogs. For some reason, I just have more optimism about them. And I sort of mentioned jokingly last week that they're going to start their run to the finals by pumping Essendon, and they didn't quite do it as badly as I thought they were going to.
Were you joking then? I thought you were just being serious.
No, I think I think the Dogs are going to make finals, and I think they're going to win. They're going to go on a winning streak here to push their way back into it. Next up, we've got the other Friday night game. Tom, I reckon you're going to have to look into some screen-in-screen action so you can watch both games at once. It's actually quite an enjoyable experience, I find.
Yeah, I might have to.
We've got Freo versus the Kangaroos. They're playing over in Perth. I don't know if there's that much to talk about this one, really. I think Freo are going to win by about 100 goals. What's the biggest winning score in the history of the AFL? Do you have to go back 100 years? I think this might be the biggest winning score in the history of the modern AFL.
It would be St Kilda getting flogged in the 70s or something. Yeah.
Isn't it 186? The Geelong Melbourne. Is that the biggest ever?
I don't think that's the biggest margin ever.
Oh,
but anyway.
Jesus, that's pretty big, 186. Yeah, look, as Lemon said, not much to discuss. The only thing to discuss really is that Freo apparently have got quite a few out with COVID this week. Haven't really had their big COVID crisis yet. West Coast got it straight away. Freo's has been more of a slow build. So, they might be missing a few players, which could make it a bit closer. But even with their seconds in, I think they would have no problem accounting for North at Optus Stadium.
I'm just looking at the biggest wins here. Fitzroy beat Melbourne by 190 points in 1979.
Wow.
Yeah, so Geelong and Melbourne is second.
27 years later, they were no more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's to talk about? Freo are going to win easily. North Melbourne might not score in this game. That's how good Freo's defence is. That's actually on the cards.
It will be difficult for them to score. That's for damn sure.
It's actually on the cards. All right. Saturday Arvo, first game there. Richmond Collingwood. This is probably one of the more challenging games of the round, I think, because it's really hard to tell where Richmond are at, as I sort of mentioned on the main body of the show. Now, they absolutely annihilated West Coast, but I just don't know what that means at this point. I am going to take Richmond. It's at the G. I think Richmond are still just a little bit better than the Pies. Dusty could potentially be back. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, I think he's likely.
So, yeah, that should just give them the edge. I think it should be a pretty good game, though. So, Richmond for me, but not by very much.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky one as well. I, too, am going to go with Richmond. Basically just I think the best players for Richmond are still a bit better than Collingwood, and what they did last week was have a really, really good, practice run at getting their game style that they want to play. And so that would have been helpful for them to develop that and really instill what they need to do to have those kind of wins. So it's got to be helpful on that front, and I think that they can carry some of that form over and, not by heaps, a couple of goals maybe.
This one, I think, is the trickiest one of the round for me. I still think Collingwood are a little bit underrated in general. Like, I think they've been playing above their expectation. But having said that, I think I'm still going to go with Richmond. I think the Tigers have got... I don't know. I think it's just something about watching them play. I think they're going to have the edge over Collingwood in a few different areas of the ground. So, yeah, Tigers for me as well.
Sydney versus Gold Coast Suns at the SCG. Look... Gold Coast have given Sydney problems in the last few years. That's got to be said. That it's not always a romp when these two teams play. And to be honest, Gold Coast haven't been blown out of the water really much this year at all. They've been relatively competitive. But, Sydney are just a class above, and they should win by, 5 or 6 goals, I would think.
Yeah, it's weird because, I'm definitely not tipping the Suns, but, there's a part of me that wants to, if that makes sense. But Sydney for me, just because, as you say, they're just better than the Suns.
Sydney, absolutely. Sydney, even after last week's loss, I thought they still played really well, and they're just one of the best teams. So, Swans for me as well.
GWS versus Geelong up at Metricon. I think this is a much more interesting game after last week than I think we would have otherwise thought. Giants were really good. I know it was against Adelaide, but they were really, really good on kind of offense and defense last week. And Geelong, well, they got beaten by a good team, but they were relatively disappointing as well in losing, and they're coming up to Metricon. I'm going to tip the Giants in this one. I think Geelong might be the favourite, but I'm going to tip the Giants.
Yeah, this is actually at Manuka, Gus.
Manuka, not Metricon.
Your hometown, capital of our nation.
I don't know why I kept saying Metricon.
Look, it's only taken me one good win from the Giants to be fully back on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm on board again.
Yeah, I'm tipping the Giants as well. Toby Greenback just makes such a big difference. They're just a different team with everyone just plays better with him being there. It's weird.
I mean, I agree with you. They looked amazing this week against Adelaide, and I did not expect it. But I think Geelong, the way they sort of were coming back against Freo at the end, if that game went for 45 seconds longer, I think Geelong would have beaten Freo, and we'd be talking about how Geelong have just knocked off another great team. So I think whilst they were a bit disappointing at times, I'm going to go with the Cats. I reckon they've got it in them. I reckon they'll bounce back and get a good win this week.
Brisbane Lions versus West Coast Eagles. Look, if we thought there wasn't much to say about Fremantle, North Melbourne, there's even less to say about this. This is going to be absolute carnage, I would have thought, and I'm tipping Brisbane Lions to be the ones exacting it.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles might score in this one, but Brisbane are going to score 200 points. So, it's not going to be good. So, Brisbane for me.
I'm actually thinking about the... No, I'm kidding. I'm not. No way. This might be the surest thing that Footy Tipping's ever seen. It's going to be the Lions by, 1,000,000 points. All right, next game at the exact same time. It is the Bombers versus Hawthorn at Marvel. Yep, I'm still out on the Bombers. They still haven't given me any reason to not be out on the Bombers. And Hawthorn, who I've found difficult to predict all year, I think are still cut above. So Hawks for me, unfortunately. I don't know if the Bombers are going to win a game the rest of the season. It's pretty hard to see that happening.
It's pretty dire, isn't it? I'm going to tip Hawthorn as well because screw the Bombers.
Yeah, I don't know. I find this one hard. I just feel like there's a response coming from the Bombers. I'm not saying that they're going to, catapult their way up the ladder anytime soon, but they're going to have a good win at some point because it's just they need that pressure release, and clubs often do get it. I'm wondering if it's going to be this week at Marvel. Stringer's playing.
No, he's not.
What's wrong with Stringer?
Stringer's done a hamstring again. He's out for 3 to 4.
Okay, I can tip Hawthorn then, I guess. Yeah, that's a shame. All right, Hawthorn.
Melbourne versus St Kilda, top 4 clash, which is pretty cool, really. At the MCG, I mean, what do? You got to tip Melbourne. They're the best team in the competition and may kind of put St Kilda in their place, which might not actually be a top 4 side. So, yeah, Melbourne for me.
Oh, I've just been trying to think of reasons why I could tip St Kilda. I just want to do it. Why could we talked about Mackenzie on the wing. Can he take Langdon? Who can Membry do something with May? Can they do it?
Do it,
I'm going to do it. Why not St Kilda? I just think, my logic here is it's very rare that teams win 8 in a row, even when they're really good. And I think that there will be a point where Melbourne just drop a couple during the year. There'll be random stages, and I think after 7 weeks, that's about a third of the season. So I'm going to tip the Saints. Let's liven this party up, hey?
There's some real galaxy brain stuff here.
Yeah. Well, you got to make it fun.
You've got a lead, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can fuck around and tip St Kilda as many times as you want. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tip Melbourne because I'd like to not be coming last in the competition anymore, and I think Melbourne are going to win pretty easily. So.
Okay, so we'll finish it off with Adelaide versus Carlton. This game at Marvel Stadium. I think that the Crows would have a decent chance here where at Adelaide, but it's not, and Carlton are a much better team. So easy one for me, Carlton by 6 goals.
Yeah, Carlton should win. Again, they're playing a not very good side, so they should win pretty comfortably, I would imagine. So the Blues for me.
I'm so confident that the Blues are going to win that they're definitely going to lose. They're guaranteed to sort of disappoint me and just make me an upset person, which is what Carlton have done most of my life. So I'm going to tip Carlton, but I would not be surprised if they absolutely spud it up and lose this game.
All right, brilliant. That's another round down, fellas. So hopefully we all get 9.
Wow, that's it.
I think that's impossible, but anyway. And if you're enjoying the Tip Show, bang a subscribe. God, I've done it wrong again. And follow along the YouTube channel. You can hit us up at ontheouter1@gmail.com or any of our socials as well if you want to make fun of our hats or suggest the TikTok dance that Lemons is going to have to do at the end of the season. Oh, we did not forget Lemons. But until next week, we'll catch you later. Ciao.